On the European scale, there is a huge debate on national versus harmonized support. This comes from the argument that the renewable energy potentials in Europe are quite unevenly distributed. Obviously, there's more solar potential in the south than in the north, and the wind conditions are also uneven. So there's a lot of debate on the European scale whether we should have a unique and harmonized support scheme which might help to make use of these different potentials. However, so far there has been no agreement on that. The national perspectives have been dominating the debate. So at the end of 2008, it was made a compromise where we said, okay, every country can have its own support schemes, but we introduce some kind of cooperation mechanisms where a country or two countries can agree, okay, you achieve a bit of my target and I pay you money for that. So this is still possible, but there's no harmonized support scheme, although the Energy Commissioner Oettinger suggested this would come, but it was also commented by the press that it might be an accident. So anyway, in 2014 we will have a review on this strategy, and so there might be a change of policy towards a harmonized support scheme. We don't know yet. So far we have, as I said, a compromise where we can make a transfer of targets against money. So this is already possible. So what instrument can be recommended in what situation? It is concluded by some important European studies that money alone is not the unique and deciding factor. There are many other factors who are important, whether renewable energy is efficiently supported or not. The stability is important, that investors can adjust to that, that the industry can adjust to that. A stop-and-go policy is not desired. So stability and certainty, these are really important factors. And then there's, of course, the whole administrative procedures, grid access, and everything around that is also very important to support renewable energy. And it's also can be said that the maturity of the market is an important factor. And the energy market also has to deal with the renewable energy feed-in. So there might be a case also for take a different approach for different technologies. I will come to that in a minute. I was asked to present some figures on cost reduction for renewables. It's mainly discussion around learning curves. So how far could we decrease the support? If you take a look at production costs right now and compare this to current market prices for electricity, the current market prices are quite low. This might change, but anyway, we see that most technologies are still more expensive than the market price. So two things are possible: either the costs for renewables are reduced, or the market price will increase. I think the two things will happen. And so eventually we'll come to a competitive solution where renewables will be competitive in the market. There are, as I've showed from the chart before, there's quite a severe difference between the technologies. There are some really established technologies like hydro, and there's some relatively new technologies like photovoltaics. And so there are some really innovative technologies like wave or tidal and other innovative technologies. So there might also be a case for differentiating which technologies should be supported in what way. If you take a look at the photovoltaics learning curve projection. I think this is widely discussed in both Germany and the Czech Republic. And we've seen quite a steep learning curve already. Drove prices down to about 3,000 euro for a kilowatt peak installation. In fact, I think we are already a bit below that if you consider that big solar plants are built for around 2,000 euros a kilowatt already. So I'm quite confident that by 2020 we will get in a range of a bit more than 1,000 euro a kilowatt peak, and then it will decrease a little bit. So this chart essentially shows different studies on that, and that they more or less point all in the same direction. If you take a look at the wind technology, we also can expect, decreasing costs there, especially also for offshore. For biomass, there's a bit less of cost reduction available. But for the geothermal, also cost reduction, I would say it's quite substantial. So the last aspect for the power system integration, I've heard that there's a lot of concern about wind power integration, especially in this country. As I can tell you from the experience we have in Germany right now, where we have 26 gigawatt of wind installed in our system and 16 gigawatt of photovoltaics, we don't have stability problems. So I haven't experienced a blackout so far. Of course, it's an operational challenge, but it's nothing that can be unsolved. The challenge is actually going to be also the Czech Republic. Even if you will not have so much wind energy yourself, it's going to be the wind energy that will be installed in other countries like Germany. And so the power will be transported via Poland or directly from Germany to the Czech Republic. And the integrated European energy market rules will permit and enforce all countries to deal with this electricity. So it's getting an international dimension, and so the European cooperation in this field will have to be increased. But I think the problem can be solved, and transmission is relatively inexpensive. The problem with transmission is always the acceptance, the local acceptance. Thank you. I hope I have given you some insights into the European roadmap. Especially the 2050 goals are important. I also want to stress that feed-in systems have proven to be successful. If they can be adjusted to the coast developments, I think they will have a good chance to be the dominant support system on a European scale. We can expect substantial cost reductions, especially for PV and wind. And the system integration issue is no problem at the moment. From 2020 onwards, if we have high wind penetration, then it's going to be a challenge. Thanks a lot for your attention.
Well, I think there's no reason to worry about that. I mean, you should simply look at the examples that we can observe at the moment. Take a look at countries like Germany or Spain, where we have shares of renewables that are currently 10 to 20%. Most of them are fluctuating. So I would say, well, most studies show that we can go up to like 20% of wind energy, which is the most challenging one in a power system, without major changes. We can go further than that. We made a study for the Irish system, which says that we can go up to 40% of fluctuating renewables in the power system. And of course, beyond that, it's quite important that we starting to reinforce the grids, introduce smart grids on a distribution level, but also reinforce the transmission grid to be able to balance the fluctuations with other countries. But this is an issue what I would say would apply beyond 30 to 40%. Then it becomes really important. On a small scale, it's not an issue. Well, it's true that at the moment renewables are not competitive in the market, although in some situations they even are right now. It obviously depends, first of all, on the power prices on the market. So as soon as we see that CO2 prices will increase, gas prices will increase, we get in a much better position quite soon with the cost of renewables. And secondly, of course, there's still technology learning effects, and I expect cost decreases which will occur during the next 10, 20 years, so that in fact from 2020 on there could be a situation where renewables are already competitive in the market. And one thing needs to be mentioned as well. The effect can already be observed in the power market. So wind energy decreases prices in the wholesale power markets, and also photovoltaic. Photovoltaic does decrease the peak demand, and so the expensive gas plants don't need to be used. So they already have an effect in the market to decrease the prices on the wholesale market for all customers. I don't think that it's necessary to abolish a system which has worked well. The only issue is are we fast enough to adjust it? And if you take the example of Germany, where we had a huge increase in installations after the prices fell due also to the Spanish crisis, there was passed a law in the German parliament this summer to reduce the feed-in tariff for photovoltaics by 16% in total. So we have an extraordinary decrease, and we have a further decrease by the end of the year. So it's quite possible to follow the market closely, and then to reduce the feed-in tariff accordingly. And this, of course, needs to be done to make the system cost-effective. But it's no reason to deviate from a successful support scheme.
Thank you.